walk out of here in one piece. I hope.
Welcome to Visionaries Global Media.
That's recorded.
Your number one source for podcasting entertainment. Visionaries Global Media. Envisioning excellence on a global scale.
This is Banned from Ringside.
Tonight on the Man from Ringside podcast, the month-long journey that is the G1 tournament has come to an end, and we have thoughts about it. We're going to talk about the Wednesday Night Wars. We're going to give you our Hell in a Cell predictions. Lars Sullivan is getting the rocket ship, or the rocket pack, the jet pack, whatever you call it. I don't know. This is our second take, everybody. That and a whole bunch more tonight on the Man from Ringside podcast.
Now, see, you didn't have to say that shit. You didn't have to say that shit.
The audience likes honesty.
Jesus Christ.
Ditch that 9 to 5. It's time to feel alive. Hello, Mark. So welcome to the Band from Ringside podcast. As always, I am your host, Bill Vagey, a.k.a. the Hand, the Myth, the Legend. Out there in Edwardsville, Illinois, we have Two Beer Zach Pullman. What's going on, Two Beer Zach?
Not much. Just taking a break from playing Rocket League to indulge myself in a little pod and my first beers of the week.
Good for you. And sitting next to me, braving the COVID house.
I ain't scared, baby.
We have Jason Cornelius Bell. What's going on, JCP?
Allow us to bow our heads for me and for everybody else as I read for the
Pray
latest
for me.
edition from the Band from
Pray for
Ringside
Zach.
podcast, volume
Pray
178.
for our families.
Chapter 3, verse 14. And the good spark saith, hashtag
Pray
move
for
the
everybody.
heels. It is all good, baby. Listen, share, subscribe, repeat. No, man, I ain't worried about... Look, there's one life to live. I'm living it. And like I said the first time, since we're going to go ahead and pull back the curtain, take your ass out and vote. I don't give a fuck who you voting for. Take your ass out and vote. It's about that time. What'd you say, 12 days?
I care who you vote for.
I know you care. You know who I'm voting for. Act like, come on now. I can't vote
Joe
for the
Jorgensen?
Yeah, right. I'll say I can't
God,
vote for
he's
the guy
such a
that's gonna
libertarian.
Vote for guys that getting ready to kill me, but that's just me. So if you vote for me, great. If you vote against me, that's cool too. Just take your ass out and vote.
We are coming at you from, or Jason and I are coming at you from sunny South City, St. Louis. You know what, everybody? I'd like to give everybody a big shout out for all the thanks that I got on social media. Everybody wishing me the best after I got COVID, after I contracted COVID. Let me look over my Twitter feed. Oh, that's right. None of you motherfuckers wish me well. Not a single one of you. Every single one of you. Every time I have a Fandango tag. Every time I have a Fandango tag, it's at BFR Bill. At BFR Bill. At BFR Bill. You're such a shithead. You're the heel. I get COVID. I get a life-threatening illness from a global pandemic. Nobody gives a fuck.
They didn't like that babyface turn.
They did not like the babyface turn. It was like when Daniel Bryan, when they tried to make him part of the Wyatt family, and everybody just was like, no. And a week later, they were like, okay, we'll just have a bunch of yes kicks on top of a cage, and that'll be the end of it. So,
more like when Roman got leukemia.
He's heating up.
Jason, tell us about F&B Eatery. Come on, right after the cancer joke.
F&B Eatery on the corner of 3453 Southampton to Marquette. Do yourself a favor. It's going to be the holiday season. I'm ready to give out gift cards. Slide into the DMs. BFR Pod, BFR JCB, BFR Bill. We owe you gift cards. Make it happen.
We do. We owe some people gift cards. If you reached out to us and said Okra a couple weeks ago, you are getting your gift cards. Jason, we cannot be the podcast that doesn't give people gift cards.
And trust me, F&B is literally like 5 minutes away from the house. It's absolutely ridiculous how close it is, at least for me now. So that way, save yourself some grief.
There goes the neighborhood.
Yeah, right.
Jason lives pretty close to me now.
It's already gone to shit.
Property values went down.
Yeah. I already called the cops on them a couple times.
I was about to say, I live in an apartment. It's
just for barbecuing.
That's what I was saying. There's this Negro out front. F&B Eatery on the corner of 3453 Southampton. Tell them that Band for Ringside sent you, or maybe not.
Let's get to that 3 count.
1, 2, 3.
All right, JCP. Get us started.
This second take is great. Let's make a little history, boys and girls. We're going to talk about a little G1 history in the making. just walking in the door with Ibushi, making it 3 consecutive G1 finals, going against Sonata, winner of the B block, losing his first 3, and then basically running the table from that point on. So obviously, like I said, we had history walking in the door with Ibushi. Sonata trying to get on board to finally win his first G1. If Ibushi won, it would have been back-to-back. So obviously, by this point, we all know that Ibushi did win. He goes back-to-back, joining the likes of Chono, 5-time winner, and Tenzan, back-to-back winners. So he's one of 3 people to win back-to-back G1s coming out of this. I will admit, I did not know who won the match, but I did find out that the match was 35 minutes long, which, once again, another G1 record. I still cannot believe that seems so low. I mean, just for 30 G1s, give or take, that just seems low to me, but neither here nor there. I'll just say it like this, and I don't want to beat the dead horse because we kind of talked about this a little bit beforehand. The final for me was a little underwhelming just because I think I pretty much knew that walking in that this was Ibushi's to lose. Okay. It'd have been really weird for me to see Ibushi lose this match to Sonata. And this is not a knock against Sonata. It's just, for me, it's always a pecking order, whatever you want to call it. Ibushi's a primetime main event guy. It makes sense for him to win the G1. It would make sense for Sonata to win the G1 because I don't see him main eventing a Wrestle Kingdom. Now, moving forward in the post-match press conference, you had Jay White basically throwing down the gauntlet to be one of the first contenders to challenge for the briefcase whenever Kota Ibushi gets the briefcase. Okay, so now this at least now garners my attention again. For me, these are 2 main event guys. I know Jay White is not some people's favorite. I think he's an amazing heel, and he's easily the best heel on New Japan roster, and I'll take that and put it against anybody else. That makes sense. I would like to see that match. Now, if you told me that it would be Ibushi versus Jay White, okay, now you have a coin flip situation. Sonata feels like he's Intercontinental title. Same with Evil. Evil I thought was jumped too far too fast.
Yes.
And I think now we're starting to realize the repercussions of that. And I'm not saying that Evil has bad matches. I just don't think he's a main event point. No, these are the same Evil matches that we've seen before. It is just different. It's Bullet Club makes it different.
Zach, what did you think about the final?
Yeah, the final match itself was kind of built to be this all-time classic match. It had definitely good storytelling with Ibushi coming in with the bum leg because of the crazy match with Taichi where they threw 158 kicks and that's all they did.
I want to talk about that in a bit.
So good storytelling. The psychology was good. It was obviously just put together to be a classic match, but unfortunately it was overshadowed by earlier matches in the G1 because we had such a fantastic G1. So there were better Ibushi matches. There probably weren't better Sonata matches. This probably was Sonata's best match of the tournament.
Naito?
But Sonata.
No.
Sonata and Naito? You know what?
I'm not saying you're a nerd. I'm a mark, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Get it right.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, I'd still edge out this one. But yeah, that Sonata Naito match was really good. I don't know. Yeah, that'd be tough to say. But still, regardless, it was built to be a great match. It was a very good match. These guys are both really talented. Not the match you would expect to see from them. Less high flying, more technical wrestling. But yeah, it breezed by 35 minutes and still a good G1 final. But it's just that there were so many other great matches earlier in this G1 that in a couple of years, I will not remember this final match nearly so much as I will remember some of the other moments especially in the A block.
No, I agree, totally.
No, and like Jason said, a little peek behind the curtain. We had a technical difficulty, so us 3 have already talked about this a little bit, but that doesn't mean that there's not a whole lot more to talk about. where I was saying I think that Sonata leaves a little bit to be desired. He doesn't seem like a main event player when it comes to – it just doesn't seem like he's in the same realm as Ibushi or Okada, obviously. I felt like Will Ospreay was way more prime to be somebody that would have been in the final, if not as the winner. This match bored the shit out of me. I'm sorry, and I love Ibushi. I don't love Sonata. I loved him when he had the mohawk. I thought the mohawk was cool as fuck. I'm just saying, he looked awesome when he had the mohawk.
He still does the same shit.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it's pro wrestling. Like it counts.
It's the little shit. I get it.
He looks cool.
I did not think it was boring.
It was a 35-minute match. The first 10 minutes of it, literally nothing happened. Nothing.
It was a feel-out process.
Yeah, I know, but
that's a part of the. We're building the story. I didn't think it was boring. I thought literally I was going to see what I've usually seen with Ibushi and Sonata, where you have a little technical wrestling, we do a little high flying, and we get to the end. This was more like
it never got to that
than anything else.
It never got to that gear, which only New Japan matches can really get to. When you're at the very end of a New Japan match, and it's 6 or 7 minutes of the most insane shit that you've ever seen, the most insane counters you've ever seen. That's the kind of stuff. And I'm still a neophyte when it comes to New Japan. Like, I've only been watching for 4 years or whatever.
I've been watching about to say the experts over there in Illinois. So I was about to say this would be a question to be thrown to him on that one.
I expected a little bit more. Zach, am I wrong?
No, I don't think that. I think that's a valid criticism. It's just like, what did you think of, say, like the Sonata Tanahashi match? Was that boring to you?
No, because I find Tanahashi to be very exciting and somebody who can tell a story a little bit better than Ibushi can.
I guess that's fair because Tanahashi is a total legend. I just think, sometimes...
Yeah, I know. Like, asking me about... Of course, Tanahashi doesn't really have bad matches.
Well, and
Ibushi really doesn't have bad matches. Sonata has bad matches.
I'll piggyback on the Tanahashi.
And when I say bad, this is completely relative. I'm not saying it would be bad.
It's not a Yano match or anything, but yeah, I understand what
you're saying. Well, I was going to say it's not an 8:00 match on WWE Raw, is what I was going to say.
No,
fuck, I like Yano a lot better than Sonata.
Whatever, you just said that to piss me off. Anyway,
not really.
Yeah, right. Tanahashi is its own storyline. Not only is he somebody that can elevate Sonata, but his storyline is the Father Time storyline. Is this really, the last go around for Tanahashi? I thought Kevin Kelly on the English commentary, did a really good job kind of keeping that storyline going. Is this, the last go around for Tanahashi? I mean, it feels like
I can't believe they didn't keep him alive. I can't believe that they had.
I was getting ready to say, especially right before the final day, I would always think that the Ace was going to be there, and for him to lose the second to the last night before the final was kind of a surprise. I'll be lying if I didn't sit back and was like, oh shit, that just happened. Yeah, Tanahashi just lost.
Two beer Zach, how do you feel overall about Ibushi winning?
Oh, I mean, I think it was the right move.
He basically called the shit.
But
let's go back to this. Well, it's going back to it for us three, right, but not for the audience. Zach did call Ibushi versus Sonata for the final and called Ibushi as the champion. So you get
Zach
you get 50 points on the predictions. So
nice. But yeah, he's got to defend the briefcase, but nobody has ever not defended it. I mean, I feel like
that was my next question, because I was going to say, as long as I've been watching, as long as Bill's been watching, nobody has ever dropped the briefcase, correct?
Nobody's ever done it.
Could be the year, though.
But it is 2020.
Yeah,
well,
it's always a possibility.
I was getting ready to say.
It's kind of like there's always a possibility, but is it the right move, right? Eddie Kingston taking the belt off Jon Moxley. Yeah, there's a possibility. Is it the right move?
Probably not.
Right? So, like, with Ibushi, Like, he's seemingly has this unending contract with New Japan Pro Wrestling, like this lifetime contract. He's already failed at the Tokyo Dome once, and I mean they do this patterned storyline all the time, and it totally makes sense. Like, you don't always win your first time out, or if you do win your first time out, you don't always win the belt. So I totally do not expect Ibushi to fail twice, though, especially against Naito, who they've had like a lot of great battles. Like,
Easy.
I feel like
easy. I'm
he's
still
gonna.
here.
He's gonna come. He's gonna be victorious. You know, I don't see him losing twice in a row. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, they could push like a much longer term story, but it's already a long term story. Like, Ibushi's never signed a contract before now.
I thought
They got
Ibushi
him.
signed
Like,
with
why not?
with New Japan. Am I wrong?
He did before now.
Okay.
He signed with New Japan now, but before that, he was always a legit independent contractor, Bruiser Brody style.
See,
So
Sonata.
like, yeah, and now he's New Japan, and like the guy's 36, 38. Like, it's time to pull the trigger with Ibushi. You know,
It is
he's not
time
gonna
to
be
pull
able
the
to land
trigger
on
with
his head
Ibushi
forever.
if you're going to put the belt on him. I mean,
Yeah,
No,
You don't-
I think it's a safe bet. It's going to happen.
like I said, in the limited amount of time that I've watched New Japan, it seems like they only let the creme de la creme touch that belt at all. And then Evil wins it, and it's like, okay, well, kind of like if Evil can win it, then Ibushi should have it for some amount of time.
Okay, but then this is kind of like what I was.
And when I say creme de la creme, I mean,
Okay.
I literally mean the best of the best. Like,
From
there's
the
only
time-
3 or 4 guys
Okay.
right now that I can look at that should probably hold it.
From the time that we started watching it, you and I,
Yes.
Okay.
Been about 3 years,
3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Okada, Omega, Naito, Jay White,
Tanahashi? Did Tanahashi hold it?
maybe, and we could throw them out there if you want to. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys I just named
In 4 years.
In 4 years that have been the champion.
And
okay?
Evil, it really seems like they called an audible with Evil.
I'm a firm believer they had something in mind, and then the pandemic hit, and then they called the audible, and it kind of went Andy Dalton on them.
Before we get
dude,
to
that belt is so elite that when Jay White won it, people like those Twitter nerds and like the New Japan forum nerds were saying that it was the end of New Japan. That's how elite that belt is.
yes, it's for the best. I do want to talk about, before we get too far into it. I was disappointed in the final, like I said, but I was not disappointed in the A block final. We talked about this. Yujiro gets his first win. He gets off the schneid versus Jeff Cobb, which was a really fun match. Jeff Cobb had a good G1.
Jeff Cobb had a good G1, and this felt like the right spot because you got Cobb over as much as you could.
Yeah.
And it's time to drop Yujiro a ball.
And then get Takahashi. Yeah. You had Shingo versus Suzuki, which was a very Suzuki match. Suzuki, once again, takes the pin, smiling the whole time. You had Ospreay versus Okada. Ospreay turns heel.
That's the one where, for me, as a person that watches Stardom, seeing B. Priestley come out was immediately the people's eyebrow popping up, and then to see how it all unfolded.
Is the people's eyebrow in that sentence your eyebrow?
Yeah, in this case.
Oh, okay. All right.
To see Oka come out as the Great Okan, watch Will basically turn heel. Not before my eyes. I saw him in Progress Wrestling, and he was a heel in Progress for a little bit. And that's where I was kind of like, okay, Will Ospreay could, actually go somewhere with this if it actually pans itself out.
Are we getting Ospreay Okada at Wrestle Kingdom? Zach?
No. My guess is no.
I mean, I think it's probably more like they haven't announced Power Struggle yet.
Right.
So I feel. Wait.
I thought they did.
It's Great Okan versus
Okada first,
right?
yeah.
So yeah, this will be like kind of Great Okan's test to be like, are you actually going to be a player kind of thing? Because I was like severely underwhelmed with that like angle. It just didn't. I mean, I'm fine with the Will Ospreay heel turn. Definitely be a heel, be a good heel before you can be a big baby face, like that's totally understandable.
Is it?
But
I
think so.
Am I out of line for saying that the heel turn by Ospreay and having, I'm sorry, what's his name?
Now he's the Great Okan.
But he used to be
Great Okarn.
No, he was he was the young lion in New Japan. Yeah, OKA was.
But when you have a turn like that and it doesn't seem like a big deal, is that because, and I don't mean this as an insult to Beer Zach Bowman, not at all, because I'm the same way. Is that because we've conditioned as American fans to expect a heel turn to be somebody that you've seen before, Seth Rollins versus a Dean Ambrose, or, the classic heel turns, fucking Shawn Michaels on Marty Jannetty, shit like that. Like, is it always supposed to be this big deal, or did it seem underwhelming because we don't really know the guy that helped Ospreay turn heel, and also the crowd wasn't allowed to say anything. Like, they're only allowed to clap. Like, could that be it, or was it just an underwhelming heel turn?
It wasn't necessarily poorly executed at all. It was just, like you said, it was the unfamiliarity, right? Like, yeah, he was a young lion. I don't remember him, like, as a young lion either. Like, I wasn't paying attention to young lion matches, or I just wasn't watching.
And also, we were looking at the Okada-Ospreay match on the last night of the A block. We were looking at that like it was going to be very consequential. Like, I was surprised when it didn't go on last.
Sure. But yeah, the way that they laid it out, it kind of had to just set up, the story of the evening. But originally, like, that spot, and maybe he'll still be in the stable, but like that spot was like supposed to be Jeff Cobb. Now that would have been, I think, a little bit more impactful, maybe just for an American audience. Maybe it's me being like ethnocentric, right? Maybe it was more impactful for the New Japan folks, like in Japan. But
it didn't seem like it, but they're not allowed to say anything.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really hard to tell, but I guess we'll find out like how well he does at Power Struggle, and then we'll see from there. Like, I'm not gonna shit on it or anything, but it just it didn't seem as impactful as like a real deal Will Ospreay heel turn should have been.
No, I'm saying,
Jason,
go ahead. I was about to say, no, I disagree, and this is why I disagree. It's against Okada. Okay, it would be. I get it. Okay, this is. If this was done with English commentary behind it, when I saw it the second time and Kevin Kelly was like, it's Oka, I don't remember him. He didn't really stand out, but I remember watching some of his Young Lion matches, so I could at least make that connection. For me, the impact was maybe, and this is just a subtle way because I watch Stardom, but to see B. Priestley come out and start the interference process, that to me says a lot, because they never really made the Stardom New Japan connection until now. So now here comes B. Priestley. Fans, people that at least I know on Twitter don't like B. Priestley. People that watch Stardom don't like B. Priestley. So, okay, this is a start. But we obviously know that B and Will Ospreay, they date. So now you fast forward. Now the person that is doing the attacking on Okada, I'll give you that. That's a little underwhelming because of it's someone we don't recognize. And that's neither here nor there. I'll give you that. Outside of that, I don't think anything else was done wrong. Will Ospreay turns heel, check. And you make the connection with Stardom, where everybody's like, New Japan doesn't have a women's division. Oh, yeah, they do. They just made the connection. Check. So now moving forward, you can do cross-promotion programs if you wanted to do that, or you can bring in, Stardom wrestlers into New Japan, or vice versa, whatever the case may be. Like I said, for me personally, I think it worked. The only bad part about it was who the person was that attacked Okada was probably underwhelming. Outside of that, I love the rest of it.
Sorry, I was peeing. Can you repeat that? And then last on the A block ending, we had Ishii going over Jay White. I appreciate that they put this on last, that Jay White, as somebody I read on Twitter said, missed the open goal, missed the open net. Ishii,
fucked up my prediction.
The type of dude that Ishii is, he's certainly not going to celebrate it very much. He just wins over Jay White and he goes home. What you think about that match, Zach?
Yeah, totally worked out. That's kind of like what I had expected. Now, this match was really good because both these guys are really good. It's impossible for Ishii to have a bad match. Jay White is arguably the best heel in the entire business. So, yeah, totally worthwhile main event, especially with crushing Jay White's hopes and dreams.
Really, dude? I'm sitting right here. Come on.
I mean, I like the Switchblade. Like, I breathe at the Switchblade.
I know, but I mean, look, just because you got to be Zach Radames doesn't mean you got to shit on my pick, okay? My shit was right there into the very fucking end, and then once...
You're not Jay White, you're Jay Black.
Jason Cornelius Black.
Right? I was going to say, Jay White was right there, and as soon as Ibushi won, I'm like, son of a bitch. This shit's getting ready to go south. But and I'll say this, and this is more so, I guess, towards Bill's point of why I didn't necessarily like the finale versus, like, the A block last night. Even though I knew in my heart of hearts Jay White was losing, that was still a good match.
Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely.
The final wasn't as good as that Jay White versus Ishii match. I'll go like that.
The final was as boring of an Ibushi match as you can have. And that's not Ibushi's fault. It's Sonata's fault.
No, it's not. No. There was way too many banger matches coming up before that. That just happened to be wrong place, wrong time.
I wouldn't say it was a boring match.
Have we talked about the Ibushi Taichi match on this recording? I know we talked about it.
No, I don't think.
It,
no, we touched on it, but yeah, but no, let's talk about it because I mean,
Ibushi Taichi, as Zach said, you know, the tournament's made up of moments. He talked about the Omega Ishii match earlier, which was great from a couple of years ago. This match between Ibushi and Taichi, which lasted about 22 minutes or something like that, where there wasn't a single punch thrown. It was all kicks.
And there wasn't a single move done.
Right?
No, yeah, there really wasn't until Ibushi did his finisher,
right,
which is the knee.
Which is a knee.
Right. But other than that, it was one of the most compelling matches I've ever seen. I was drawn into it. I was like hypnotized by it. I was like, are they seriously, like, at a certain point Kevin Kelly goes, have we seen anything but a kick yet? And Romero goes, I don't think so.
No,
nope,
I'm still watching it. I'm shaking
there
my
was
head like, nope.
there was a Hurricane Rana, an attempted Hurricane Rana.
We threw something in there to kind of mix it up. But for me, this is a two-part thing.
But that's the type of match that they're going to talk about forever.
Yeah. It's one of those matches where, you know, God willing, 2 years from now, we're talking about, you know, the 32nd edition of the G1. We'll talk about this match. We'll talk about how Taichi beat Suzuki, but to me, this is the bigger moment for Taichi. You know what I'm saying? This is really one of those times where I think if you're going to kind of cement him going long term, Suzuki, God bless him, he ain't going to wrestle forever. He's in his 50s. Somebody's going to have to take over Suzuki-gun. Taichi kind of seems like he's sliding towards that forefront, especially beating Suzuki in the G1 match. I mean, that's what the G1 is. Like Zach said, it's much so memories. The bad part about this one is, and I'm saying the bad part in quotations, is that the final was a little underwhelming.
A little underwhelming. It was.
Did you guys ever watch that Shiozaki Fujita match? It was from Pro Wrestling Noah. It wasn't too long ago, but it's a 1 hour long match, but 31 minutes of it was them like staring at each other, like a total stare down.
I remember you said me the week. I've never watched it.
That sounds boring as shit, but it was not. Like somehow, like I don't know. I think maybe it's just different strokes, different folks. Like Bill, like kind of thought the way that this match was paced was boring, and compared to some other New Japan matches, you could definitely say that. I've said it about some of the earlier Okada matches this G1.
For sure. Yeah, I was getting ready to say, we cracked on Okada without question. But it just got more, for me, it got more compelling because it was about the money clip, it was about the Rainmaker, and then the cherry on top was the Will Ospreay heel turn.
So let me ask you this. The B Block final was kind of forgettable. Yoshihashi versus Yano. Nobody's ever going to watch that match ever again in their life. Juice versus Goto. Juice goes over Goto. Pretty good match. Tanahashi goes over Zack Sabre Jr. Very cool match. Kenta.
That was good.
Yeah, I was going to say, laying the 3, 4, 5, 6 count on Zack Sabre Jr., just to reinforce, hey, I'm still the ace. I'm still here.
Kenta Naito.
It was, once again, kind of no surprise. It was just how we were going to get there. I hate the Becky Lynch, Shayna Baszler, here's the surprise pin to win the match. That's just not for me personally. Kenta winning is what I expected. How he won, it's just not for me.
Zach.
At least I didn't have to hear Destino.
I'm done with it, man. I'm done with it.
Back off.
And I love Naito and I love Kevin Kelly, but it's annoying.
No.
I don't think we've talked about Sonata Evil yet.
Not this time around. We didn't.
What you think about it, Jason? Go ahead.
I'm going to say what I said the
Don't
first
defend
time.
it till I shit on it. Pretend this is the first time it's ever happened.
I didn't have a problem with it. To me, once again, this is Bullet Club Evil versus LIJ Evil. All the little spots are still the same. You're still putting chairs around necks. You're still hitting home runs with the chairs. It's not like Evil was a baby face. They were LIJ's all tweeners. This is just now more so a transition to Bullet Club. And I think what we probably need to do, especially...
Tweener's just a heel.
No, Tweener's not just a heel.
Boo the Tweeners!
Yeah, right. What I think you and I need to do is kind of go back and look at Bullet Club and how they operate, especially in the early days, because a lot of it was just interference. And I think a part of the reason why it's not working for you is because of the constant interference. And don't get me wrong, I get it. Okay, Dick Togo is getting to the point where it's getting a little annoying. Dare I say a lot annoying.
That's not even my problem with Evil matches, though. My
Okay,
problem's not Dick Togo. My problem is that there's nothing compelling going up to the Dick Togo spots that happen at the end of the match. Zach.
Yeah, get in here, Zach, because I want to
hear what Zach thinks about it.
It's nothing is different.
Yeah, I have more problems with the Bullet Club interference, but the onus is on Evil to make it more compelling, because I think I said this last week. I have less issues with Jay White having the same kind of interference as I do with Evil, because at least Jay White makes for a compelling match.
Okay.
All the way up,
Okay.
even the beginning stages.
And I'm not saying I disagree with you, but isn't that, just for the sake of argument, a tad hypocritical?
Oh yeah, that's why I'm pointing out the weird binary. Like, it shouldn't exist. My main concern is the interference. I shouldn't like one more than the other.
Right.
I should hate them both.
Because they're basically both doing the same thing.
Yes, but my point was with Sonata and Evil, and that's a big match. If Sonata wins, he wins.
Basically the winner wins the block.
Yeah,
by that point,
right. And if you didn't have Kevin Kelly and Rocky Romero telling you that these guys had this long and storied history and that they should fucking hate each other, you wouldn't be able to tell by what happened in the ring. And that is...
Oh, part of that's Sonata, because he's got no, facial expression.
Yeah, he's cold skull. I get it. I get it.
He's
but
like Dean Malenko. Very technically sound, but is not going to give you a single facial expression the entire time.
And how many fucking championships did Dean Malenko win?
I'm sure he was light heavyweight or cruiserweight champion at some point.
No, I mean heavyweight championships.
Oh, come on.
How many big belts did he ever win?
The belt was probably bigger than Dean Malenko.
I'm just saying. Listen. No, there's other guys that there were Dean Malenko size that went further than Dean Malenko because it's pro wrestling. You can be the Cold Skull, isn't that his nickname? Cold Skull. You could be the Cold Skull and not show any emotion at all, but you can't expect to go very far, and your matches are going to be less interesting because that's what it had. Like, Sanada and Evil, they should be going at each other like...
It should have been...
It should have been a bloodbath.
Yeah, borderline,
I don't know, Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Whoever.
Table spots where somebody's jumping.
Undertaker, Kane.
Right, where,
Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn.
Where we don't necessarily need commentary to appreciate the fact that
and that's the best thing about New Japan is that the story is always told in the ring. And with those two guys, it's like, why isn't this story being told in the ring?
Okay, putting it like that, that's fair. I would totally back off of that if they would have went a step further, bring in more, because you always have the Evil prop with the chair around the neck. But if you brought in a table, let's say Sonata jumps on Evil underneath the table, whatever. Okay, then I understand it. It makes more sense. I will back off on that. I will give you props. You're
all right,
correct.
Let's wrap up G1 2020. Who do you think had the most surprising G1 tournament? Two beer, Zach.
I would say Suzuki, just because he was out of the G1 last year of his own volition because the guy's getting old. He just said, nope, not doing it. And then they leaned on him because they needed guys this year because of the pandemic. And the guy's 52, and he had arguably the best matches in the entire tournament. So, just that alone. Ric Flair wasn't having these kind of matches at 52. And Ric Flair, arguably the greatest of all time.
Dude, once again, I'm sitting right here.
Goldberg certainly ain't. Who do you think had the most disappointing? I'm putting you on the spot. We did not talk about this prior.
I would say Okada, just because half the matches were him trying to get that money clip over, and it was underwhelming. But again, maybe I'm just being a mark, and that's part of the long-term storytelling, and maybe I'm just getting worked, But you think of arguably greatest wrestler alive, at least, 2 years ago, I don't think we would have argued that. But right now, there's guys that are overshadowing him, like many guys, like Ishii staying constant. Shingo Takagi is, up there, and Will Ospreay, for sure. I think those are probably top three of those guys.
I'll go next. I completely agree that Okada had the most disappointing G1. That's if you're going to watch 9 Okada matches, those are not the 9 Okada matches you want to watch. It's unclear what he was trying to do if he wasn't going to win. The person that surprised me the most was Taichi. I loved Taichi's entire tournament. I loved all of his matches. He's a guy that tried to tell a story from the beginning, how he was trying to turn over a new leaf and be better. Didn't last very long, and it culminated in... I don't know if it was the best match of the G1, but to me, the most memorable match of the G1 is Ibushi Taichi at the end, and maybe this is recency bias, but it's only been a month, but Taichi versus Ibushi at the end, where all they did was kick each other. That's a match that I've said it a couple times now. That's a match that people are going to remember. Jason, what you think?
I guess we're gonna go MVP. I'm gonna piggyback on you. I thought Taichi was just absolutely amazing. Like I said, beating Suzuki is all I need to know at that point. Jeff Cobb can get honorable mention because up to losing to Yujiro, and not saying that losing to Yujiro is a bad thing, but he's had a very good G1. Obviously, he did way better than he did beforehand last year. Looked more comfortable this time around. Least favorite G1?
Just maybe
Shingo.
Maybe disappointing.
Shingo, I guess. I expected it.
He had a bunch of good matches.
But the A block, I expected him to get more points. It wasn't about bad matches. It was about my expectations. I expected him to be somewhere in the mix towards the end of the tournament, and that's just a testament to the G1 A block this year. It was just fucking loaded. No, it is no knock against Shingo and the matches. Well, I'm sorry, I am a nerd, but I watch wrestling for 6 days a week, so it is what it is. I expected Shingo to be there at the end, and when he wasn't, I was a little disappointed.
Okay, I think that'll close the book on G1 2020. Hey, fellas.
Bye, G1.
That was a lot of fun. I think the next week we'll probably get back to the takeover do-overs, but that was definitely a fun little month. Let's get to that 2 count.
Bye, G1.
1, 2, 3.
2 beer. What's the 2 count?
2 count. We had the Wednesday Night Wars, and I'd say we just cut through the bullshit, as MJF and Jericho would say to each other.
Come on,
and
man.
just talk about what everybody's talking about. And it is the fantastic musical number that they did about an hour and a half into the show. They built this thing up, and this has been a slow burn every week. There's been an MJF Jericho thing, and they're doing such a good job of like pushing this on to the next week. And I want to see what happens next week, and I want to see what happens next week. So last week they get in each other's faces and basically do the same trope of like, you want to have a match? Oh, I want to have a match. But instead of match, just insert steak dinner. And like, yeah, we're going to have a steak dinner. And so I'm like, all right, let's see if Jericho and MJF can get over this steak dinner, right? Because Jericho's already gotten over a debate with a guy who can't talk. He's gotten over so much this year. And I'm like, you know what? I was like, I bet this is going to be an entertaining segment. I'm looking forward to it. And these guys over-delivered. Like, it starts out just like you think it would, with they're both being assholes, especially to the server, and as all of us work in the service industry.
Calling the server the wrong name happens to me so much.
Bunch of servers over here, man.
And it's so funny to me.
And then still calling her the wrong name.
Oh,
Like,
that was the one where immediately I started laughing because I'm like, no, that's not her name. No, that's not her name. No, that's not her name.
They just like one-upping each other on like who can be the biggest asshole, and almost Jericho's kind of playing like a little bit more babyface than MJF, but they're both like terrific. And then they just break into this musical number. I don't remember the name of it, but they basically like commandeered a show tune and kind of changed some of the lyrics. But I mean, it is a legit show tune, and they do this song and dance number. And just when you think it's over, they take it from the top. And they start doing it again, and this was like 7 minutes of bliss. I loved it. Like, and then I get on Twitter, and it's just like a bunch of toxic people like just shitting all over it and saying this isn't wrestling, and like it's like, oh, this isn't the sports-based entertainment that they promised us. And I'm like, dude, like you got 1 hour and 50 minutes of sports-based entertainment, and you got 7 minutes of some of the funniest shit I've ever seen in wrestling. Like, I'm sorry. Like, if it's not for you, it's not for you. It doesn't have to be for you. You reserve the right to have that opinion, and I reserve the right to just call you wrong, because that was...
You know, after I found out that Zach loved this segment so much...
Is it a surprise, number one?
I've been really looking forward to talking about this. Jason, what did you think about the segment?
No, because I mean,
I know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, and
I just don't know. I don't know what Jason's going to say.
I'm the wild card because we hadn't talked about this, and this is wild. Like,
I'll tell you exactly. I'll read off to you what I tweet or what I texted the Tender Mahal last night.
Let me go first. I had huge hopes coming into this because obviously my running theory for this is MJF joins the Inner Circle at the end. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be, but it was still fucking funny. I get it where some people didn't like the musical part of it. To me, it was funny. They still made it wrestling related when they were, they cracked on Young Bucks at one point. You know what I'm saying? I can't think of who else they said.
We cracked on Cody.
Okay, and that's what I'm saying. I get where people will kind of shit on it. It is kind of WWE to a certain degree. That's where the sports entertainment part comes in. But it was, for whatever reason, it still made me laugh. And to me, that was the ultimate part of it. It wasn't meant to be serious. It was meant to be funny. And whether it hit you or not, that's something entirely different. That's, to each his own. For me personally, it made me more times laugh than I was like, oh, this is stupid or this is a cringeworthy moment. When I thought it was over, it wasn't over. Ultimately, I liked the segment.
So here's what I told Joey last night, Jinder Mahal. He texted me. He goes, "Are you watching AEW?" I go, "I'm flipping in between AEW, NXT, and the World Series." I was just flipping between all three.
Are you
but
betting on the World Series?
Huh?
Are you betting on the World Series?
I am not betting on the World Series. Not saying my bookie wouldn't take it, but I'm not betting on the World Series.
Slide in the Bills. Damn, to get a bet on the World Series.
Jinder Mahal says, "What did you think about it?" I said the singing part might have been a little bit too cute for me. The part where they were talking down each other on the temperatures on the steaks had me legit rolling. Like, that was legit funny to me. That's not WWE humor. That's not Vince humor. That's funny to me. The part with them singing, I watched the entire thing, and I didn't hate it. I didn't love it as much as Zach did. But what am I watching pro wrestling for? I'm watching pro wrestling because it's the fucking weirdest thing that exists in the universe. And that was a really weird segment, that again will last the test of time. Like, they will be showing that forever in MJF, because MJF's not going anywhere.
No.
Unless he gets Me Too'd or something worse.
WWE backs up the brink. Trump,
unless he dies or something.
Stupid.
Right. He's not going anywhere. They're going to be showing that forever. Him and Chris Jericho doing show tunes. That's a fun segment. If you hated that segment, you hate professional wrestling.
No, I'm not going to go that far. I'll just say, I'll say it like this. This is a bridge to mending fences. And that was part of, at the end of the whole thing, they're like, Chris, you're okay. MJF, you're okay. I'm glad we're starting to see things the same way. So as wonky as you may have thought the singing was, it's all a part of the storyline.
So,
and it's also two things that both of these guys can do and pull off. Like,
I didn't know MJF could sing.
Yeah, and he's been singing since he was a kid. There are very few people.
He sounded better than Jericho.
He sounded way better than Jericho.
Oh, yeah, he really did. I'm a singer.
He's a legit rock star.
Okay, fair enough. You're
right.
But
there are very few people that could pull this off, and people like, if WWE would have done this, you would have hated it. And probably because I can't think of a single person in WWE that would be able to pull that off.
If WWE would have done it, they would have leaned into a guy not being able to sing and making it sound bad or something. Rather than taking two dudes that can actually sing and making it sound good.
See, what was the girl's name in WWE that came on and always used to sing really off pitch, just brutal. And I could see her. No, not her. But it was just like,
what era?
Circa like 2003 SmackDown ish. She would always come in.
This is good pod.
And she would come in and she would sing whatever. Ooh.
Hey, hit us up. Let us know who the singer is.
She
Type in Okra, and Jason will send you a gift card 6 months from now.
Mole on her face, and that was like the running joke. Not only could she sung poorly, but she had like this mole on her face. Santina Morella is a part of this angle. Nonetheless, the point is that's WWE humor. It's not. It had nothing to do with storyline. It was just trying to be over the top.
Well, that's the thing.
Over the top.
It wasn't even funny. It was just two guys being really talented.
Kudos.
Yeah, and very tongue in cheek.
Okay,
yeah, it was tongue in cheek, but it wasn't like laugh out loud funny.
No.
It was just kind of funny to see them.
I was, like I said, I was expecting something more across the table of, verbal jabs versus this musical that breaks out.
My favorite wrestler of all time is 1999 through 2001 Kurt Angle. Like, to me, nothing can top it. I love it so much. That has a lot in common with Chris Jericho, and this seemed like a very Kurt Angle thing to do.
Jimmy Crackhorn, I don't care, is one of my
Zach,
favorites.
Right?
I mean, I can see that. Yeah, like, because
Sexy
Angle
Kurt
is so over the top.
Sexy Kurt is
intelligence, integrity,
and also like over the top, and also incredibly talented at literally anything that he did, like except saying the words WWE.
I mean, that being said, you liked it way more than I did, Zach.
Oh, I loved it. And also, like, I love, like, show tunes and shit. Like, I love musicals. Like, I thought that was such a fun and fresh idea.
You're a nerd.
Like, for something that, like, it's like a crossover for me. You know, it's like whenever, like, I watch, like, Xavier Woods play video games. You know, it's like, oh, these are two things that I love. Like, if only he was, like, smoking weed, I'd be, like, fucking mind blown, right?
Yeah, never mind. Let me just shut up.
No, I mean, and by that same token, I thought the most entertaining thing on NXT was the Johnny Gargano Candice segment, which was
pretty good.
Also, laugh out loud funny.
Yes.
Like the whole premise is they're doing the Wheel of Death or whatever that they're going to do on Halloween Havoc.
Raw roulette is what I used to call it back in the good old days.
Yeah. So, like, Johnny Gargano starts off by hating this idea and saying, everybody knows Johnny Gargano hates wheels. Like, that's like just like a thing that everybody knows,
right.
Apparently. And then he spins it, and it's buried alive, and he's so distraught, and he's like, they want to kill me. They want me to die. He's like, what are the chances of that? 1 in a million? And Candice is like, well, more like 1 in 12. I'm just dead. And he spins it again, and it's a casket match. But, like, these segments of Johnny and Candice at home have consistently been, and not just me being, like, a Johnny mark or anything like that, like, they've consistently been funny and worthwhile, and now they're using it to put over, like, Indy Hartwell, who, you know, they're pairing with some younger talent.
Well, and also Candice LeRae.
Talent over. And Candice LeRae is way more over than she ever was as a babyface.
For sure.
So, but yeah, so I found the kind of more sports entertainment sections of these shows to almost be more entertaining than the wrestling, even though there was good wrestling on both. AEW is a little bit marred by some injuries. I mean, like, that Rey Phoenix Pentagon match, there was a botch that kind of slowed it down for a little while, but that was still a banger match. Alex Reynolds legit got knocked unconscious.
Yeah.
I
don't know how that didn't get caught, but
can we talk about the best parts of AEW though? Like, we have a tournament to get the number one contenders spot, and we had Jungle Boy lose to Wardlow. We had Kenny Omega squashes Sonny Kiss, which is a good sign.
Filling in for Joey Janela because Janela was at the Collective and there was a COVID outbreak at the Independent Collective. So thoughts out to our friends who were at the Collective, because we know BFR knows a few folks that were there. So hopefully everybody's safe.
Sorry. Yeah.
And but yeah, so the bringing back of the cleaner, like where Kenny legit had girls with brooms dancing, and his entrance.
It was like a whole new character.
Yeah, giving out his star ratings, his Meltzer star ratings, and all of these things. Like, I mean, it was bonkers, and it was so over the top. Like this whole show was very much over the top.
What do you think of it, Jason?
It reminded me, and I said it to you on our text thread today, where Jester Roberts was, doing his pre-match introduction for Kenny Omega. It was kind of like Cody Rhodes when Cody Rhodes was TNT champion before he lost to Brody Lee or whatever. And it was all the nicknames, and all the nicknames reminded me of, I guess that was Rocky IV when Apollo Creed was getting ready to fight Drago. And, it was like,
it's the best Rocky.
The King of Sting, the Count of Monte Fisco, it was all kinds of, nicknames he came up with. That was the shit that, it reminded me of that. When Omega came out, it was like Tiger Woods back in his heyday when he was winning any and every tournament. And it was, I can't remember the tournament, but it was like, the guy was rattling off all the Tiger Woods accomplishments, and Phil Mickelson in the background was like, okay, that's enough. That's what I felt like they were trying to impose to me. Not only A, the Queener is here, and B, this is what the Queener does. All I do is come here and handle business. Look, if you got a problem with Sonny Kiss getting squashed, that's a whole nother issue. We are resetting Kenny Omega. Okay, Kenny Omega, what we used to see is
that's
not
exactly what it felt like to me.
This Kenny Omega is moving forward.
Yes.
He is going to basically come in and wreck anyone that is not in his, it's a very small area code.
His facial expression after he squashed Sonny Kiss.
Boy, please. boy, please, why are you even in this ring?
And then he went in and checked on the dude that he fucked up, but after he looked hard doing it, you know.
Okay, good. The
so
cleaner is back.
Yes,
that's
it feels like a reset for Kenny Omega. You agree, Zach?
Yeah, it's 100% reset. Like that they're doing, and this is what everybody was crying about. Like they act like AEW's ruined because Kenny wasn't the ace. It's like, no, Kenny spent a year building up the tag team division, which is obviously important to them. Kenny spent a year letting other talent take center stage because he knew at any time you could throw him in a skillet, throw a little olive oil in there, heat him up, and he's the hottest act in the entire company, and that's what he's going to
be. I mean, he's exactly right. Because now you have this whole. It's like they just signed him pretty much. We just signed Kenny Omega. We signed tag team Kenny Omega for the last year. We just signed singles Kenny Omega, and now he's about getting ready to fuck everything up.
Well, it was like the meltdown on social media was just so weird because, like Two Beers said, this is what people have been clamoring for. You know, Kenny Omega's not Kenny Omega that we've seen before.
Wait, what was the meltdown? They were melting down because they squashed Sonny Kiss?
It was a meltdown because it was a squash to begin with, and it was a squash on Sonny Kiss because now AEW's homophobic and they're racist and all. Okay, everybody just stop.
Kenny Omega's gay.
Okay, everybody just stop for a second. Kenny Omega
or bi. I mean, whatever
is doing what I will go with bi.
He's fluid.
Kenny Omega is doing what you have been asking him to do for the last calendar year. He did it quick, to the point, and it was so fucking sweet. I bounced up in my chair. I was like, oh, shit. Okay, now we're talking.
No, that was cool.
That
was not what I expected to happen. I expected it to be an 8-minute match.
Yeah, and I expected it to go a little long where, you know, Kenny eventually wins. This was like, Cleaner's back, you know, with the girls coming out.
There's people that are just going to complain either way because remember whenever he gave 15 minutes like Alex Reynolds, who's an awesome or Alan Angels. Alan Angels, yeah. Was. Really good hand, right? Like wanted to give, you know, and everybody's like, oh, they let him have too much offense. And then he squashes an act like Sonny Kiss, who's a definite undercard act. And people are like, oh my God, like it's the end of the world. Like there's people that are just not going to be happy with anything. And I'm over it. Like, I'm just like, I'm done. Like, people that follow me on Twitter, like, if you're listening, like, you see I don't get on Twitter that much. I think, like, the only person I interact with on Twitter anymore is, like, Blood Girl Raven and occasionally you guys. Like, that's it. Can't take these people.
No, I totally get it because this is one of those things where if we're going to do, and I'm guessing Omega versus Page is the presumptual final at this point. I mean, Wardlow Page is going to be amazing. Omega versus Phoenix is going to be amazing. You'll have two great semifinal matches, but I would assume that we're going to do what we've been building up to this point. You got to separate Kenny from what he used to be doing tag team wise. And that's why you kind of you sprinkled him in on commentary and he kind of made points to, you know, say, you know, the tag team, Kenny is over. You know, I'm turning the leaf. I'm trying to be, you know, new Kenny now. Never really said the Cleaner, but I think Eddie Kingston said it. And then JR kind of piggybacked on it on commentary. And that's where I was like, okay, the Cleaner's back for sure. It might not be New Japan Cleaner with, you know, the jacket and the glasses, but the brooms are basically in the girl's hand, and that's all I need to know at that point.
So we had a couple other good matches on AEW. Zach, which one you would talk about first?
I would say we talked about Jungle Boy, Wardlow, and then we had Kenny Sonny Kiss. Then we had Adam Page versus who did he face?
Colt Cabana.
Colt Cabana, which was fine. That wasn't like anything exceptional. And then we had Rey Fenix and Pentagon, which is definitely noteworthy. I mean, it's not like we haven't seen these guys wrestle before, but because they're brothers and because they're a tag team in AEW specifically, we don't see them wrestle here in this setting. But these guys like tore the house down and had the most entertaining match of the night, like for sure. Like of Wednesday night, it was like the most entertaining match.
It was better than Evil Sonata.
Come on, dude. Seriously? I mean, come on.
It was.
Damn. I mean, okay, if you want to be like that, this shouldn't have been a quarterfinal match. How about that?
I agree with that, and I'd like to hear Zach's opinion on this too. because I think it's pretty obvious that we're heading towards an Omega Page final. So it's next week. It's Kenny versus Phoenix,
which is we've seen twice, and it's been great both times.
Shit, we can see it 5 times. It'd be great all 5 times.
Yes, it fucking rules. And then we have Wardlow. I always forget which one's the O and which one's the A. Wardlow. We have Wardlow versus Page. I mean, there's no way that Wardlow wins that without some sort of weird-ass shenanigans.
We didn't see MJF in the first round, so, I mean, like I was saying, the 2 here, it feels like Kenny versus Adam Page, and then I'm all for it. I mean...
I just kind of wish that would have been a semifinals match, because then the finals match might have a little bit more intrigue, but that's just me.
No, I just, like I said...
Yeah, I think they're giving us, like you said before, predictable is not always bad. It's kind of like the Moxley and Eddie Kingston thing. Like, they both had amazing promos. Like, we just saw this match for free on TV a couple weeks ago with a clean finish in the middle, and Eddie Kingston and John Moxley's promo work is so good that I can't wait to see this match again, even though I just saw it with a clean finish a couple weeks ago, because these guys are obviously, like, I don't expect Eddie Kingston to win, but just the fact that he could, and the fact that the story that they're telling, I still want to see this match.
Yeah, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso is immensely compelling to me, even though it seems like it's pretty obvious who's going to win. That's still a match that I want to see. I want to see an I Quit match between those two, because they've done such a good job with Roman Reigns as a heel, but we'll get to that later. Sorry, Zach, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's really all I wanted to say was, like, that's a compelling match, even though, like, on paper it shouldn't be. But the personalities of these characters, like, they're both so intimately real. Like, those guys are especially just a perfect example of, here's my personality just turned up like a little bit. Like, I fully expect John Moxley is exactly like that, and by all accounts, like, whenever we've seen him on, like, shoot interviews, he is just like that.
Yeah, he's a weirdo.
Like, yeah, I mean, like, we've seen Eddie Kingston, like, in person. Like, that's what Eddie Kingston's like.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's just who he is. And, like, they're just so good and so tuned into, like, what they can do. And, like, I think Eddie Kingston's probably had, like, the greatest 6-month resurrection, or maybe not even resurrection, just, like,
erection.
Total. Yeah, exactly. 6-month erection.
So you might want to call
shout out
that.
to Blue Chew, who does not sponsor. But you know, like, think about where Eddie Kingston was doing 6 months ago, and, like, yeah, he's good in the ring, but he's not, like, an outrageous, like, worker. He's a really good worker. He's a
promo and a half, though.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
His promos are
into this thing.
Yeah, they are interesting promos. I didn't really know his work at all until he showed up at AEW. It looks like, Jason, we have the Young Bucks are the number 1 contenders for in 2 weeks at, what's it called, Hard Gear or
Full Gear.
Full Gear. And we're gonna have the Young Bucks versus FTR.
No, I mean, this is what
Grandpa.
Yeah, right. I think he always makes the old jokes about my ass. This is the match where we were always kind of leading up to, but now, obviously, Matt Jackson getting his legs stomped on is the question moving forward. All I ask is Matt Jackson can't come back next week, even if it's sell the injury. That's all I'm asking at this point. If it's 2 weeks from now and he comes back, that's great.
When you say Matt Jackson, are you talking about Tegan Knox? Or Dakota? I can't.
You ain't shit, nigga. I swear to God. Oh, this is what I wish. All
right, go ahead. Never mind. Go ahead.
But no, it's
going to have a little bit of fun.
Yeah, right. You still can tell either. You can't tell either one of those two girls apart, can you?
Fuck no.
God, you're horrible. No. All I ask at this point is just have Matt stay off TV for a week, maybe 2 weeks, bring him back on the Go Home show, and then do it like that. The match itself was good. I didn't necessarily have a problem with this. Private Party is what it is, and they're just a long-term project. I like Butcher and the Blade getting Bunny back. I just hate the fact that they got her back on Dark and how they did it. The match was good. I didn't know John Silver was this over, and this is what I've been always saying about, I guess I need to watch BTE, otherwise there's jokes and backstory things that I don't get. And
dude, John Silver is probably the best. I don't even I'd say John Silver is the best part of BTE. Like, in the past, couple months.
There you go. And I don't watch it. And
if there were fans in the building, John Silver would be. I wouldn't say quite as over as Orange Cassidy, but there's a reason John Silver and Alex Reynolds was in this match
for a reason. Okay, see, there you go. So, like I said, that was. I was a little taken back by who was in it, but then I just wanted to let it see how it played itself out. The match was good. You knew who was going to win, but getting there was half the battle. John Silver with a couple of big spots. Like I said, Private Party, getting the receipt back on the Young Bucks. At the end of the day, like I said, Matt Jackson has to stay out for at least a week or two.
And last word on AEW, unless you guys want to talk about something else. I was born in 1979, so I was just prime for Jackass, the television show. And because I was born in 1979, I think that Darby Allin is a terrible act, and
you didn't even appreciate the
so when they bring in Steve-O.
Okay,
when they bring in Steve-O to get over Darby Allin, I mean, my soul is at war with itself. I mean, I have devil on one shoulder, angel on the other shoulder. The angel is Steve-O. The devil is Darby Allin. Fuck Darby Allin. I hope he loses.
Come on, man. I was getting ready to say.
Zach, what you think about that segment?
I mean, it was fine. It wasn't one of my favorite Darby Allin segments, but we know that we're all big Jackass fans. I grew up if you would have seen me whenever I was 16 years old, I had medium length dark hair, a goatee, and an Element skateboard with a heartogram on it.
Oh, so, it is legit my favorite of all time. Jackass just is so funny.
The fact that he did that in a body bag on that Steve.
Oh, I didn't really care about that. I just like that they brought Steve-O in.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a cool plug, and good on Steve-O for staying sober and staying alive.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, because that's what you were concerned with in this whole segment.
Yeah, I'm not about to run down Steve-O for being sober. Yeah. So let's talk about NXT. We have Kushida wins the opening triple threat match versus Velveteen Dream and Tommaso Ciampa. What you think about that, Zach?
I love that they just beat the shit out of Velveteen Dream the entire time. That was my favorite
They
part.
really did.
It was just the whole match was just Kushida and Ciampa beating on Velveteen Dream and also fighting each other. But whenever they were fighting each other, one of them would throw the other into the ropes or into the corner, and it would inadvertently hit Velveteen Dream every time. Oh man, it was awesome. And Kushida got a pin over Ciampa, which is a much bigger deal than just pinning Velveteen Dream again.
It's a huge deal that Kushida pinned Ciampa. Yes.
It just shows that they
protected Ciampa,
might be behind. Yeah, they protected him, but it shows they actually might be behind Kushida and might be doing a little bit more than lip service. And they were very into this guy because Kushida was, people talked about Kushida being the next Liger. If he would have stayed in Japan, just pretty much the ace of the light heavyweight division. He had reached his peak. Because, there's that weird thing in New Japan where, you really got to be, mega over to, get out of the light heavyweight division.
Ciampa seems like the type of dude that would probably go to Triple H or go to Regal or whoever's in charge of booking and say, it makes sense for Kushida to beat me right here. Especially because Ciampa came back as a heel, a full-fledged heel. There's no tweener there with Ciampa right now.
No,
he's a heel.
And if you want to... As long as he's going to stay, you might as well start getting guys over. And this is what I was saying maybe a week or 2 weeks ago. It's time to start, flipping this roster over and starting getting new blood into this roster, whether it's on the heel side, the face side, whatever the case may be. Kushida's been around for long enough to where you could be doing something with him. And like Two Beer said, it looks like they're trying to do something. Fingers crossed.
Well, it's funny you say that because it does seem like they are trying to usher in some new blood at NXT. It also seems like a lot of the old heads are just not going anywhere in terms of Breezango and Lorcan and Birch, who just went over for the first time. I think it's the first time they're tag team champions.
I think it's the first time they're tag team champs.
Gargano's still around. Undisputed Era doesn't look like it's going anywhere.
No.
Austin Theory keeps getting squashed. That seems to be some sort of punishment for him. Bronson Reed goes over him twice.
God
That was
damn.
really fun. I liked it. And
I liked
if you're
it
gonna
too.
Beat up Austin Theory every week, like I'm in, right? Because he's
I'm like, dude, just
really
put
good
down
at
the
making
fucking
you
mic.
not like him. I'm just saying, like he's really good at making you like not like him. Like it's not like Sammy Guevara, where like I genuinely like Sammy Guevara, but like I also think he's a great geek, and I like seeing him getting his comeuppance every week.
That's a great comparison point between those two, though, because they're probably around the same age. They're probably around the same size. They both have problematic stories about them that one has atoned for, seemingly, and the other one hasn't. And you're right. Austin Theory is very talented. It's not really a burial if you lose on TV every week and get a promo every week, but it does seem like they're punishing him for something, right?
Yeah, they're punishing him for Heyman thinking too highly of him too early, basically. And they're like, now Heyman's out of that position, and they're like, nah, we're gonna bring you back down a peg.
Well, he's got some type of Me Too thing going on, right?
Oh yeah, and the Me Too thing, but I feel like they ignore that more than anything. Like they don't even want to bring attention to it. Although, I mean, Dreams and his Riddle's not like lighting the world on fire on the main roster either. So.
I feel like they selectively wield that against people. Like it seems like
somebody like Lars is invincible to it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I was going to say. So Austin Theory, like I said, it's not burial if you lose all the time and then you get a promo, but it is losing all the time. And then you talk about a guy like Lars Sullivan, which they just seem so stubborn about. I mean, he just keeps stepping in dog shit over and over and over and over again, and they just keep giving him another chance. And just this week, he went over, hold on, let me find it. He went over Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
And then he went. Oh, and then at the beginning of SmackDown, he went over like everybody, and then he beats Jeff Hardy. And then, and then Jeff Hardy got in a fight with Elias. I did not watch the Elias segment on Raw. Hold on, before we get to Raw.
Yeah, let's
stick with NXT.
Slow down, man. First things first.
Jason, you gave me some weed during the podcast. You knew this was going to happen. You have Drake and Killian Dane versus Everrise.
Yes.
What do you think about that match?
Good on Drake. I mean, I hate the whole Drake Dane mismatch tag teams, but if this is the story you're going to tell for this match, this is what Drake had to do. Pick up the chair, go to work on Everrise.
Two Beer Zach, are you still anti-Drake and Dane?
This week was a little bit better. This week was palatable.
He's heating up.
No,
I would not say it was savory and delicious, but it was palatable.
What you think about, so Ember Moon squashed. Bobby Fish gets hurt by a masked man. The masked man shows up at the end of Breezango versus Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch. Danny Burch, Oni Lorcan win their first tag team belts, and then the mystery man reveals himself to be Pat McAfee. I bet you forgot about him, didn't you?
Yeah, got me.
It got me too.
I
never thought. I didn't even consider that it could have been him. Zach, did it get you?
Oh, it got me.
I mean, that's what wrestling should be, though, right?
It should have been something where it should have been easy to connect, but I think because
I guess the kayfabe question is, why would Pat McAfee take out Undisputed just to have Only Lorcan and Danny Burch go over Breezango. I think kayfabe style that.
Well, it was because they were Undisputed was originally going to have the match, so he wanted to take. He wanted to take the opportunity for the titles away, and that's what he did.
The fact that you had Kyle O'Reilly say on top of it, Lorcan and Burch, you guys deserve this chance. Why don't you go ahead and take the title match as the cherry on top of the cake? It's basically revenge on Adam Cole.
Who makes more sense for Pat McAfee to be in a stable with? Not stable, but 3 guys, Only Lorcan and Danny Burch or Breezango?
Lorcan and Burch.
Yeah, for sure, because Breezango is a tried and true act. Like, they don't even change anything until they retire.
I would have loved to.
It's just over.
I would have loved to have seen Pat McAfee with Breezango, but that's just me. I'm a big Breezango mark. I'm happy for Only Lorcan and Danny Burch, though.
Yeah, just getting ready to say this is going. Something was stagnant with NXT, and I couldn't put my finger on it. But now, at least this angle is at least going to bring me back to see what happens next week.
It wasn't that long ago where us 3 sat here and talked about how good Pat McAfee was and how unusually good he was for a guy that had never fought in a match
Especially
before.
in a situation where if he's not going to wrestle anytime soon and he's going to talk, Lorcan and Burch aren't the best talkers in the world.
Right.
This is going to be a good spot where he can get those guys over. And then, if he has to take a bump or two, you can obviously you've seen him do that. If he has to take a match down the line, obviously we've seen him do that.
And he has shown that he can work if he has to.
Yeah. So, I mean,
or if he wants to.
If at the end of the day, I didn't see it coming, but I'm glad it happened because, like I said, NXT has some good things going, but it's still at the top of the card. It's missing something.
All right. That's going to do it for our 2 counts.
1, 2, 3.
All right, 3 count is, before we get to our Hell in a Cell predictions, we're just going to go over some random shit from Raw and SmackDown because out of 5 hours of Raw and SmackDown, you can usually talk about 5 minutes of it.
Shit.
Well, I mean, do you want me to start with the good or the bad? I'll let you tell me.
I'm always a fan of getting the bad news out of the way first.
Okay, so the bad news is they let HIAC do 2 whole songs. And
I didn't think it was that bad.
well, that's not why I watch wrestling. I don't watch wrestling to hear Jim Blossoms come on and do Till I Hear It From You. I don't fucking tune in to see Santana and Rob Thomas do Smooth, even though I think that song fucking rules.
Amen.
And I'm certainly not tuning in to Raw to see Elias sing 2 whole songs in earnest.
It wasn't that bad.
Okay.
I'd say we've seen worse on Raw.
All right. Well, no. Well, I mean.
Yeah, we've
yes,
seen
that's
worse on
Elias
Raw.
should only ever sing half a song because that draws heat. He gets halfway through, and people are like, "Oh my god, I can't take this anymore." And then a babyface comes out and smashes him with the guitar. That's the act.
That's the act.
It
And
works.
he got smashed by Jeff Hardy, which
No. Jeff Hardy took a swing at him. He didn't hit him.
I'll be honest, I didn't watch it. So let's
You ain't
get
shit.
you want.
Good thing I'm watching for both of us. All 3 of us.
I
for this
watched
matter.
it. I
Yeah,
was
you went to
wasted.
sleep. Yeah,
Yeah.
went to sleep on it.
Let's talk about some other bad things from Raw then.
Okay.
Retribution, who they just
Damn.
made a thing,
You can't
and
get
they
out
just
your
took a
own
bunch
way,
of
yeah.
good wrestlers and put them in shitty names, etc. They basically get buried. They come out, they scare off Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss. Hurt Business comes out, beats them clean, and then Bray comes out and stomps everybody except for Mustafa Ali. What is the point of this, if any? Zach.
Yeah, give me a second on this one.
I can't figure it out.
Okay, never
I
mind.
cannot.
Thanks for the assist, 2 beer. I'll take it from here. But I'll just say this.
You ain't got no answer.
No. Here we go. This is how we're going to do this. The problem with this one is they probably got so much traction from the Twitter tweet is that they put this into actual storyline. There was no reason in the world for them to bring out Bray, the Fiend in this case, and I won't say bury. He's basically squashed him, but it's still kind of the same thing. It's just not a good look.
Well, they lost their match, and then they all got beat up by one guy.
Exactly. I don't know which is worse, but you probably shouldn't have had it happen in both segments. I get where you were trying to go with. You were trying to, get this whatever attention going on. It was just not done well. You can't have both things happen. It's either one or the other.
All right.
They should have beat the Hurt Business. Well, actually, take that back. They lose to the Hurt Business, but then stomp out the Fiend, or not even stomp him out, but pretend to do so, and then the Fiend disappears. Fiend doesn't touch Retribution until after the fact. The whole fact that Mustafa Ali came out as the SmackDown hacker means nothing at that point. I mean, now it's just a promo to have the promo.
All right. Zach, I have two more bad things and one good thing. Which one do you want?
Let's keep going with the bad here.
Fair enough.
We ain't shit. Just get that.
I just want to double back. No, I'll save this for a second. Okay. The Keith Lee versus Braun Strowman ending in a low blow. Instead of just having Keith Lee go over strong, now if they have some sort of fucking match at Hell in a Cell, it'll be terrible. Zach, what do you think?
Yeah, they're doing a really terrible job with Keith Lee, and it's not hard. He should be one of the easiest people to book, especially, when you think about what Vince likes. You'd be like, oh, well, it's like, oh, yeah, Vince can screw up a Nakamura. Vince can screw up a Sami Zayn. Vince can screw up, a Johnny Gargano. But
he's got a little too
really
much.
Keith Lee?
No, he's got a little too much melanin.
Yeah, I think that's part of it.
The match was 4
I don't know what it is,
minutes.
but
Less.
it's miserable. Like, it's miserable to see. I just hope Keith Lee's getting a much larger paycheck than he was.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I just got lost into. Wow,
Do you want to add anything? Okay.
About this.
Well, let's go back.
Brutal.
Let's go back to something else that was shitty, which was Miz and Morrison versus Tucker and Otis, who was in a mask, and his name is El Gran Gordo, which translates to the very fat man. Jason, I'm just going to ask you again: is having Otis win the Money in the Bank the worst booking decision in WWE history?
No.
I know.
Oh, my God.
I want you to think about it.
No.
I want you to think about it.
It is bad, but I'm sure we can come up with worse.
I'm not sure I can. Because because the Money in the Bank briefcase is supposed to get you to the next level. It's for serious wrestlers that can hold the belt. It is not for.
That's what we want it to be. It's not.
Well, that's what it's been historically.
It's
Who's the goofiest motherfucker that's ever won it?
The Miz.
No, Sandow.
No,
No, the Miz was a main event player forever. Though.
I was going to say Miz I wouldn't say Miz.
Otis wasn't even close to a main event.
You said goofiest,
right? And that's what I was going to say.
Oh, Otis is goofier than the Miz, though.
Yeah, without question. But I think
you said to win though. Miz won.
No, we're talking about the briefcase. No, we're talking about just the physical briefcase.
Is Zach fucking with me?
No, we just got to get him on the same page. Yeah, we got to get him on the same page. To me, the goofiest
I'm hanging up on
between Sandow and Otis is Otis. Okay, Sandow wasn't necessarily goofy. He just mimicked what Miz did, and it got him over. And that was probably his downfall.
Okay, so Otis is the goofiest.
I would say so, yes.
Who's the worst wrestler that they've ever put the Money in the Bank on?
The Miz.
You think Otis is a better wrestler than The Miz?
I do.
You know what, Zach? I'm gonna give you another.
Now you need to answer this question right because I'm sitting.
I want you to
here.
think about this.
Say, stop being selfish.
I got a knife to Jason's throat. You better answer this correctly.
He ain't playing.
Who is the better wrestler, professional wrestler? Otis or The Miz?
Otis.
Okay. Yeah.
Is he fucking with us?
No, he's an Otis guy. He's an Otis guy.
No, it's not even that. Like, The Miz is just, like, he's a great talker, but, like, he just plays professional wrestler. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when you watch his matches, like, he barely, like, runs fast. His moves are, like, so soft. Like, you know, it's just, he doesn't look like he's actually, like, in it. Like, in an athletic competition. He just looks like he's playing pro wrestler. Otis, yeah, he does the worm and stuff, but the guy's like a powerhouse. Like, you know, he does like real professional wrestling. He's like an 80s style professional wrestler who does the worm, you know? It's a weird tangent we've got off on, and I can't believe I derailed the whole thing. But yeah, that's what I think.
I had to turn off the mic. I was like, I'm getting ready to laugh.
I was trying to wait as long as I could before I was like, Zach, can you hear us? Zach, you still there?
You ain't shit.
And then you'd have to live with that Otis tangent they just went off of. What are you talking about? Miz is better than Otis? This is crazy, right? This is crazy.
I like
this.
Miz
Is Zach
better.
being crazy, right?
I like Miz better. I really do. In the scenario of the WWE pantheon, it is about characters. Otis is good. Miz is on a different level. They don't give Otis the mic every week. They give Miz the mic every week. I don't even think this is a question.
I wish we would have had the discipline to sit there for a minute.
No.
And wait for him
Do you
to
know
say
how long a
anything.
minute is? you good. You got me for 10 or 15 seconds.
Zach, I can't wait till you're in my basement again so I can yell at you in your face about that take.
How many women have you said that to?
Yeah. Looks like you're out of options. That's why I always say to him. Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman had a decent match. Roman Reigns beat him with a guillotine choke. Jey Uso came out. I know. I'd like that Roman Reigns added a guillotine choke to
It's the money clip.
I'm just saying Roman Reigns has been really good since his return. Like, the best part about WWE. Do you agree, Zach?
It's surprisingly better than I thought.
Zach.
It is 100%. It's 100% the best Roman we've ever seen, and it's one of the two things that I'm interested in on the main roster right now.
Damn.
The other one being Orton and McIntyre?
Yeah, whatever Orton has been doing, like since the pandemic has been generally good.
I'd like that Seth Rollins came out to fight Daniel Bryan on SmackDown. I'm not sure why the Mysterios came out, and then Buddy Murphy came out and then tried to shake Rey Mysterio's hand. It's like, hey, dude, if you're trying to or actually banging some dude's 19-year-old daughter and you're 32, he's not going to shake your hand.
No. Especially going after the guy that you used to hang with. I don't know.
It's just not going to work.
They're going to make it work because apparently this is what Fox wanted, and that's the reason why the whole cast of characters came over from USA to Fox. I don't even know if I want to see. A part of me wants to see Seth versus Daniel Bryan. The rest of it is what it is.
Have we had a Seth versus Bryan?
I'm sure we have.
I can't think of a feud though.
I'm sure we have. I'm sure.
Zach, can you think of one?
Awesome on paper. I've never seen it.
I don't think we've ever seen one.
Not watching for a little while, but
What?
that sounds awesome.
No way. There's no.
Try to think back to it though. Have we had a Rollins versus Bryan feud? I don't think we have. That's what the people want.
Wow. No, there's
Got to give the people what they want.
right.
All right.
No, there's no way that we haven't had that. We can go to.
Oh
we
man,
can get
I
to
love
the-
it when Jason's wrong. That's
No.
gonna do it for our 3 count.
1, 2, 3.
All right, boys. For
I
now,
haven't thought of it yet.
No, you're wrong. For now, we only have 4 matches on the Wikipedia page for Hell in a Cell.
As I say, the rest of it I don't give 2 shits about anyway. So yeah,
There's
we can go
4
with that.
matches announced for a pay-per-view that happens this weekend.
4 matches announced for a pay-per-view that happens this weekend. That's right.
They've killed this gimmick. This gimmick is dead.
This gimmick's been dead for a while, though.
What can you really do in this era?
What's
you
the
can only
last?
go so far.
What's the last Hell in a Cell match that you can remember?
Well, the stupid one that was the Fiend versus, Seth Rollins. That one killed the gimmick entirely. The last.
That was a Hell in a Cell match. That's right.
Hell in a Cell.
I forgot.
Yeah.
The last good one that I remember was Usos New Day. That's the
Yeah,
last
I was
good
about to say they dropped that on.
And
us.
I think
was like,
that was this. That's the one that I remember too. And I think that was the same pay-per-view that was Sasha versus Charlotte, which was also good.
Was it?
No, it was good. That was a good
no.
match.
I'm not saying it wasn't good. I just can't remember if it was the same pay-per-view or not.
So, I mean, coming up, I think that we have 3 Hell in a Cell matches and 1 regular match. So we'll start with the regular match. We have Jeff Hardy versus Elias.
I'll take this. You're welcome to, Beer. So that's say I'll start. This really should be Elias. I mean, all things considered, he's just coming back. Jeff Hardy's been there, done that. I mean, storyline wise, yeah, he didn't have anything to do with Elias getting ran down, but you got to establish Elias at some point coming back, right? I mean, this feels like the good start. Not saying he's going to, go over Jeff Hardy long term, but I mean, this is a good start. I'm going to stick with Elias.
Hey, Zach, don't you love when I'm like, when Jason starts with like, man, I don't know what you say about this match. And then he talks for like 130 seconds.
I'm talking myself into it, bitch. Fuck you.
I'm taking Elias too. We both have Elias. What do you got, Zach?
Oh man, this is like so hard. I really don't care, but it's also a point. So
This sounds like you're jagging off. It's like, oh man, this is so hard. It's like I don't care, but it's a point. Oh,
yeah, I was gonna say we could go ahead and just wrap this up while you finish this thing up.
What you got, Zach?
Give me Elias.
I think you said Elias.
He said Elias?
Yes.
I think it's, yeah, okay.
Yes, I said Elias.
Okay. Coming up next, in the cell, we have Bayley, who holds the title, versus Sasha Banks. I'm going to go first. I'm going to go Bayley. I can't see them putting on Sasha yet. Let her chase it. I'm going Bayley. What do you got, Zach?
I got to go Sasha. I know Bayley has been great. She was the number 1 woman on PWI. She is now number 2 only to the Fabulous Moolah in combined title reigns. But Sasha got done dirty again. And I think that it has to be part of a storyline. Like, I feel like Sasha's got to get her comeuppance here.
What do you got, Jason?
I would love to pick Bayley. I think, like I said, Bayley's been one of the best things about WWE in 2020, but it feels like Sasha. I feel
Really?
like
Have you watched all the Bayley matches? Like, you've been enjoying Bayley?
I didn't like Bayley at first. When Sasha came back to join up with Bayley, that made Bayley a better heel, and now Bayley has kind of branched off on her own to be her own heel persona. Good, bad, or indifferent. I'm still going to pick Sasha. I think this is probably the right time. Her winning it isn't the question. Can she retain it is the ultimate question. That's where Survivor Series comes in. Bigger platform.
All right, so we only have 2 matches left. They're both compelling to me. I know I've used that word a lot today, but Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso, I think I'll go first. I mean, I'm taking Roman Reigns. I don't think that Jey Uso takes the belt at this point. The storytelling is what I'm interested in this match, because they're trying to tell the story where Roman is breaking down his cousin's Jay and Jimmy Uso and saying, if you make me the head of the family, the whole family will make so much money. And I think that we're on our way to a Roman Reigns faction with Jay and Jimmy and maybe, who knows, fucking Tamina, which always sounded cool to me. I always liked the idea of the Usos as Roman Reigns' dead-eyed soldiers. What do you think, Jason?
No, obviously Roman Reigns wins. Now, where you go from it is, are the Usos going to be the willing or the unwilling henchmen to Roman Reigns? More compelling, since that's the word of the day. It feels like the unwilling henchman would be more compelling, because it would always be the internal struggle of, I got to make sure family eats, but I know jumping, fill in the blank tag team or the number one contender,
I get your point,
is wrong.
For sure.
So it's, for me, the unwilling henchman to me would be the more compelling henchman. But to answer the question, it's obviously Roman Reigns. I just want to see, can they do it? Can they make this, once again, compelling like they did the first time around? The first time around, I couldn't turn my fucking face away from it, and I knew what was happening. You knew he was getting that work, but I couldn't look away. Can they do it again a second time? That's the question.
To Beer, what you got?
Yeah, that last week of like promo and match where it was like almost like stomach turning, right, was fantastic. The last time they did this thing, and doesn't necessarily make me want to see it again. Not so much, but I do think that this is one of the more intriguing stories that we've had lately, and I'm totally willing to give it a shot. And I'm really looking forward to this match because of the vanilla match with stomach turning. I can only imagine what a Hell in a Cell would be as long as they haven't killed the gimmick. You know.
Yeah, with the I Quit.
We'll probably get a disqualification finish. You know?
Right.
Dude, stop.
It's an I Quit Hell in a Cell match. DQ, low blow. So last up, I've already written down mine, but I'm interested to hear what everybody says here. So this is a match that we don't really know the winner to. Jason, I'll let you go first. We have Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. It's the third of the trilogy of matches. Randy Orton has lost the first two. Drew McIntyre has won the first two. It's a Hell in a Cell match. Who do you think is going to win? I am interested to hear what both of you guys have to say.
I thought if you were going to have Randy move away from move from Raw to SmackDown, that would probably been the best choice. That way you can get him a new start. But now that he's here and we're going down this road, I cannot see him losing 3 straight matches in a row. Drew McIntyre, I've been championing Drew McIntyre since he's won the title at WrestleMania. Like I said, if there was crowds still around, I thought he would be much more over than he is already to this point. But I think for this title reign, this is as far as it can go. It would be a clean loss, presumably in Hell in a Cell. So at that point, it's got to be Randy Orton. Randy Orton cannot lose 3 straight matches in a row and still be on the Raw brand. It just doesn't even make sense. At some point, Edge is going to come back. That's the money match they want. I'm taking Randy Orton here.
JCB takes Randy Orton. Brings up Edge, who I did not think about. Zach, who do you got?
That was literally my exact thought process. I mean, this is what happened with Jinder Mahal. It's like any like new champion. They do the same goddamn thing, and like
I totally
they
forgot
have
about
way too
Jinder
many.
Mahal.
Yeah, I mean they did the same thing. Well, it was Hell in a Cell with
the Maharaja.
It was a Punjabi
match.
prison match with
Randy Orton.
Yeah, it's just the same shit. So I mean, this is a pattern, and also Randy Orton's been on fire, and Drew McIntyre getting his moment as champion, like they've done a good job with him. But him getting his belt back with fans is way more advantageous than, them throwing another heel at him and having like some kind of program. I think Randy has been compelling this entire pandemic, and I think he's a top guy, and I think even though Drew's done a great job and they've done a great job with Drew, I think it's time for Randy to be a top guy again.
No, I was about to say that if Randy Orton, it's time to put some respect on the man's name. I know people just do him dirty.
Time to put respect on Randy Orton's name.
Yeah, it
like
is
Randy
time.
Orton doesn't get enough respect.
No, he really fucking does. How
I'm
many
taking
times-
Drew McIntyre, and I'm taking Drew McIntyre because there is precedent for this. There is precedent for, and somebody on Twitter might correct me about this, but Triple H lost 3 times in a row to Batista, culminating in Hell in a Cell, which ultimately made Batista. I don't see any other difference between this and 15 years ago than Randy Orton playing the Triple H part and really wanting to get this motherfucker over. Drew McIntyre is here to be over. I don't care if it's Edge. They have time to get to Edge. I think they put McIntyre over for the 3rd time in a row. 3rd time in a row, McIntyre wins Hell in a Cell.
Okay, shit. You said it with your chest. Yo, badass.
I'm high. You just got me high, dude.
I was about to say, ain't no way. Ain't no way. I cannot,
Really, no way.
I wouldn't say it's professional wrestling.
You
There's
know, I
always
would
a way.
love to do this where we do our predictions and then we do our lock of the week or whatever.
You want to do a lock of the week right now?
Yeah, go ahead. Give me your lock of the week. My lock of the week is McIntyre. Actually, my lock of the week is Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah,
say
see,
that's
it's
easy.
stupid. No, you
that's
get
easy.
one lock of the week per year.
Okay, no. Let's do it right now. We can't take Roman Reigns as the match of the lock of the week. So you have the 3 other matches. I'll go first. Sasha Banks, lock of the week.
Okay. Zach, what do you have?
Yeah, if I can't do Roman, that's my pick too.
I mean, my lock of the week then would be Elias. When you lose your lock of the week, you're out of the lock of the week until
Okay.
the next one starts.
Okay, then we
And whoever wins gets $1,000 from each guy that lost.
Sorry, Zach.
This is banned from
I guess
Ringside.
tell the kids on to beans and rice.
Beans and rice are good.
I'll say them gift cards ain't
We got
gonna
some
be going far.
birthdays this week. Some of my favorite birthdays. We have D'Lo Brown is 50. If you can't see me right now, I'm doing my D'Lo Brown. Carmella is 33. Perry Saturn is 54. Make him wear the dress. Rosa Mendez is 41. CM Punk is 42. Taka Michinoku is 47. Bobby Fish is 41. Montel Vontavious Porter, MVP, is 47. And Rocky Romero is 38.
He's 38.
Rabbit fever, middle of the night.
Hey, everybody. We know there's tons of podcasts to listen to, so we appreciate you guys listening to our podcast. For F&B Eatery, for Bo Geisman, for Lucha Chris, for Murray, the Murray Man Murray,
Check.
for Two Beers, Zach Pullman,
Check.
Cheers.
for Jason Cornelius Bell.
Konnichiwa, bitches.
I am Bill Vagey. Everybody,
Check.
Black Lives Matter.
Check.
Support your local drug dealer.
Check.
Support your local restaurants.
Check.
And boo the fucking heels.